Now, in your book, you write, for years, I drank deeply from a toxic spring of hatred. I consumed the poison. I wallowed in it. Thank God I lived long enough to find the antidote. You were speaking in reference to one of the recent police-involved killings when an unarmed man was killed by a white police officer. So what's the poison of hatred you were dealing with, and how were you able to overcome it?
Well, my father wasn't around when I was born. My mother had a disagreement with him, and she didn't want him around. And so I grew up with a void and emptiness in my life. And whenever I would ask my mother about my father, she would say, "Oh, he's no good. He doesn't love you." And so I grew up thinking that my dad didn't love me, and I also resented my mother, who tried to keep me away from him. And so I was a very unhappy person growing up. And when I moved to LA at the age of 18, I started listening to Louis Farrakhan and Jesse Jackson and many other Black preachers who were saying that, you know what, it's racism. It's the white man trying to keep you down because you're Black. And so I started to hate white Americans too. And as you know, what you put out come back on you. When you hate others, that's what comes back. And so my life just went to hell in a handbasket. And instead of them telling me as a young man, I needed to forgive my father for not being there and my mother for trying to turn me away from him, they took that anger and used it to further their careers, to gain power and wealth from. And so we're trying to tell Black Americans, especially Black men, they need to forgive their failing parents first. And when they forgive them, God will forgive them, and he will take that anger away from them, and they can start to live.